There is a name in Jiangnan that people lowered their voices around after dark. I first heard it in Suzhou, where canal water slapped the stone steps and temple smoke clung to wet sleeves. An old widow pinched out the lamp before she said, Wang. I walked west from Suzhou, through mulberry fields and winter paddies, silvered by thin ice. The road smelled of mud and burnt straw. At dusk, shrine roofs rose beyond bare persimmon trees. And every innkeeper along the way knew some version of the underworld courts. Near Hangzhou, I crossed a ferry at dawn, while the river mist hid the far bank. The boatman tapped frost from his oar and told me the ghost road opened most easily in the 7th lunar month, when offerings smoked in doorways and dogs barked at empty corners. In the towns I passed, the dead judge was called Wang, King Yan, or Yama, from older Buddhist speech, carried over mountains and sea lanes. Some monks spoke of 10 kings below the earth. Villagers often folded them into one stern ruler with a patient face. The name Diyu was given to the prison earth beneath the living ground. 10 courts of Diyu, 10 stations of judgment, torment, memory, and return. In some halls I saw painted plaques of each king. In farm villages,
people simply said the dead were weighed below. The clearest account reached me in the 19th year of Daoguang, from a paper seller's grandson in Jiaxing.
He had copied his grandfather's words onto bamboo paper. The old man collapsed by a bridge in summer heat and lay breathless long enough to be carried elsewhere.
He said 2 attendants came first,
tall as door frames, with faces hidden by dark gauze caps. Their sleeves smelled of damp earth after rain. They led him through a gate studded with iron buses cold as river stones, while behind him he could still hear his wife crying. Beyond the gate, he saw a broad court lit by a greenish flame that gave no warmth. Scribes bent over ledgers, chains dragged across flagstones. At the far end sat a king beneath a plaque and a hanging balance. The old man said his own knees knocked like loose shutters. When he woke on the bridge, he spat blood for 3 days and could not bear the smell of cooking pork, even for a coin's width. Each night he dreamed of weights settling in a pan. Sleep left him thin and sharp-cheeked. From Anhui to Jiayang, the signs were told with small differences. A dying person stared past the rafters and counted unseen officials. The room cooled around the ankles first. Lamp flame narrowed blue at the wick. Somewhere outside, a rooster crowed at the wrong hour. Families who feared a wandering soul set out tea, rice, and a little lamp by the bed. They avoided loud weeping before the last breath, because grief was said to confuse the departing spirit on the road to the first court. Ash from incense drifted onto quilts. After sunset, some elders forbade sweeping toward the threshold during mourning days. Dust pushed outward could trouble the returning soul on the 3rd or 7th night. Nobody spoke the king's name while washing burial clothes. Water in the basin had to stay still. I heard another warning in temple courtyards. Never boast that no judge waits below. Never laugh while burning spirit money. Such words were said to cling like burrs to the tongue. The old men who told me this always glanced toward the shadow under the eaves. In Sichuan, I heard of Diyu as a mountain bureaucracy beneath stone ridges, each court connected by steep stairways and caves. There Wang appeared less as a lone monarch than as the first among 10 rulers. The accents changed. The smell of tallow and pepper did not. In Fujian ports, sailors mixed courtly hell lore with sea ghost offerings. They spoke of drowned souls arriving waterlogged before the judges, salt crusting their sleeves. One shrinekeeper swore the first king's hall stood beside a black tide instead of dry earth. Inland monks dismissed that. I also found echoes beyond China. In Buddhist tellings carried across East Asia, Yama ruled judgment after death. Yet the tenfold court arrangement thickened most richly in Chinese temple art and popular devotion. Scroll painters gave each chamber its own punishments, guards, beasts, and clerks. The oldest source, named to me by a monk in Shaoxing, was not a single fixed book, but layers of teaching. Buddhist sutras on the kings of the underworld mingled with later Chinese morality texts and temple murals. He unrolled a worm-eaten scroll that smelled of dust. Another thread came from Soshen traditions and later strange accounts gathered in miscellanies, where souls wandered briefly among officials below and returned to tell of registers, punishments, and mistaken summons. The language shifted from dynasty to dynasty. The structure beneath remained stubbornly familiar. What the road gave me was this. People spoke of Wang with the same household voice, used for debts, funerals, and weather. Cedar smoke in one district, sandalwood in another. Under all of it lay a belief that death entered an office before it entered silence. I carried these words from ferry landings, temple steps, and winter kitchens where the brazier reddened numb hands. Tell me a story from a province or household that did not make it onto paper. What name do you not speak after dark?